This is Paul Sackett's Good News Planet. I'm here with Shulamet, and Shulamet has been doing good for so long. She's a real peaceful person. She's a sound meditator. What's a sound meditator? What is that?
Well, you can produce with your own voice vibrations or tones that have a very profound calming effect on your person. And the nice thing about it is that you don't have to think about chasing away your thoughts, because the sound itself chases away the thoughts. And in the process, you connect with something much greater than yourself and your own worries.
You know, I have to be frank, though, Shulamet, even just listening to you talk, I'm calm.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Really, you're so. It's just a feeling of, why speak very fast? I mean, you really have a beautiful kind of a cadence, I think is the word, about your speech. Have you always spoken like this? Let's start with the speaking part, because let me just tell the audience, I have heard you do beautiful sound. And maybe you can share some of that with us later on. I mean, beautiful sound. Beautiful, beautiful sound. But getting back to speaking, did you always have a nice cadence about you? Did you always speak like this?
No, I don't think so. Of course, I don't have a recording of myself from years ago. But, I come, like most people, through, a process and a journey to get to the point that I'm at now. And, of course, I've been using the sound meditation for many years. And what it does, in effect, is raise your vibration. And the calm, becomes more of a habit. It becomes more of your default position rather than something that only happens occasionally.
So now, explain how you proceed with doing the sound meditation, and how an audience should, be open to accept it. And I know you have an event coming up in the Tibet House. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to be teaching in November of this year, 2012, at the Tibet House on West 15th Street in New York City, on November 1st, November 8th, and November 15th.
Okay, you can't miss
7
that.
p.m.
Where do people go to learn more about that, or to get tickets, and how do people get involved?
You can visit the Tibet House website, if you like. And you can look up, the web address is actually kind of long. But if you go to Tibet House,
we have it on here. We're going to.
Oh, you do? Okay,
we'll
good.
make it easier for the audience to click on it.
Right, and you can reserve a space, or if you'd like to do it that way. But you can also walk in.
Okay. All right, and those dates we'll have here also, the 1st, 8th, and 15th.
Right, it's a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. And what happens in an event like that is I have a particular focus to this particular teaching that I'm doing at Tibet House, which is about relationship, improving relationships with others and with yourself. Because we all want to come to peace internally. We all want to come to self-forgiveness. That's a very, very big deal for most people. So
Say that one again, because that is a big deal, and I don't know whether anybody can, or if people take a moment to do that. Say that word again, self-forgiveness?
Self-forgiveness.
That's big.
It's very big.
So it's not all our fault?
Well, we have responsibility for our behavior and so on, but we have to also respect the fact that we're human beings, and being human beings, actually, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
It's not easy being a human being.
It's actually quite difficult. You have to integrate your intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical nature. It's quite a task. And most people, have a lot of, find themselves in civil war internally. Fighting one part of themselves against the other, or being filled with really, really harsh self-judgment. I mean, when you listen to people, you find out that some of the things that they dislike about themselves are really not that significant, and yet they beat themselves up terribly about it, saying the wrong thing, not looking the right way, mishandling a conversation. But listen, among us, who doesn't make mistakes, and who isn't a fool from time to time? And part of the process of coming into wisdom is to recognize your humanity and stop pushing for perfection. So it's not a free pass. It's not like, you can say, oh, I did this terrible thing, but it's okay because I'm human. It's more like, I did this thing that I don't really feel was worthy of me and hurt people, and I regret that, and I'm going to try not to repeat it. But I'm also not going to beat myself up forever about it because it doesn't advance anything. You have to come to terms. And coming to terms is recognizing your responsibility, but also being kind about it.
I love that comment, not worthy of me. So that is giving yourself some respect, right? And that you are not doing what you know you could do, and you could do better. But at least you're saying to yourself, I didn't meet my, my goals or my expectations. I didn't go at this as good as I can.
Well, I think that most people have a situation where they will do something, where they won't do something. Let's say, like call their parents, or do something that they have an obligation to do, and feel very bad about it, and feel very guilty about it, but then keep repeating it. Because there really isn't any decision there to stop, to refrain from doing whatever the act is that's not appropriate in their own eyes, So you're just beating yourself up, and that's somehow kind of make it all right because you've punished yourself sufficiently for saying something rude or not calling somebody, or et cetera. On the other hand, if you say, look, this is something that I need to change about myself. I have to stop doing this. I have to stop blurting out the first thing that I think, no matter who it hurts, I have to stop doing that. I regret it. I regret the behavior. I respect the fact that I'm a human being, and sometimes I have internal pressures that make me behave badly. But, instead of beating yourself up, you make a decision that you're going to try to change. And the way that you do that is by being kind to yourself. Because when you really beat yourself up, then, you got to go out and make yourself feel better. It's sort of like going on a diet and being really, really good and disciplined, and then getting up one morning and having like 10 pies for breakfast. I mean, you could say, oh, I'm just this terrible pig. I'm this horrible person. I have no control. I'm disgusting. By the time you're finished doing that, you just need to have a few more pies because you feel so
You know what? That is me. That is me. I'll tell you that right now. That's me. I do that. And I especially do it with pies. No, I especially do it with food. I'm excessive, and I use it sometimes I use it as a reward in my mind, but it's the worst reward in the world. I mean, because then I eat abundance, and then I'm the most unhappy because it's one of the most unhappy things in my life personally is that I'm overweight, and it's not a good cycle. How do I get out of it?
Well, again, if you recognize that it's, first of all, difficult for you, that you're eating for some reason that may have nothing to do with your actual hunger.
It doesn't have to do with hunger. I don't have to be hungry. I'm just eating.
Well, I mean, it's a process, but the process is to be kind about it. I mean, we're often, if you look at somebody else that you're trying to help, we're often much more kind to those people than we are to ourselves. So you have to start to be kind about it and not beat yourself up, and then try every day. And the other side of it is to learn, and this is what I'm going to be talking about at the Tibet House, to learn a system of self-observation, which is a very gentle process in which you watch yourself in the moment when you're going to do something that you don't like about yourself. You learn to watch the triggers, for example, but you're not judging. You're just saying, oh, I just ate much more than I needed. Oh, I just ate much more than I needed. Oh, I ate just much more than I needed, as many times as that takes. And you combine that with the sound meditation, which raises your vibration and gives you comfort on a much more profound level.
All right, let's talk about
get for food.
The sound, a sound meditation. So when I'm ready to go and have my 6 peanut butter and jelly sandwich, is there something I can do? Because this could help me because I'm a musician and I like sound and I like music, and sound is music. Is there something I can do here?
Yes, you can definitely make you could have a meditation before you eat. And it doesn't mean sitting down and trying to, empty your mind, although that's very valuable. But you can make some sound. You can take 5 minutes to make some sounds which actually calm you down and bring you more in relationship to your true need. Not to your want, but to your true need. And it settles you down in a way that makes you much more aware. It's about awareness, really.
So give us a sound that you would say could be helpful, say, to someone.
Well, when I'm going to be teaching at Tibet House, as I said, I'm going to be working with relationships, relationship to others and to oneself. And I'm going to be working primarily with one sound, which is a sound that you can use as many times as you would like. It cannot bring you any harm. And it only can bring you good. And that is the sound of ah, which is projected through the heart. So the intention is a loving kind of intention. And you can send that you have to have a focus. You can send it to yourself or to others. But you intend the sound to go to support yourself or to others or to the world or whatever. And you make the sound as if your mouth was in your heart. So you have to just pitch it there. And it's very calming. So I make the sound now. I'm on a phone that has, that's a movable around phone, so I hope that the quality is good. But let's go for it. Okay? You ready?
I'm here. I'm all ears.
Well, it's not only ears; it's vibration throughout the entire body that you receive with these sounds.
Okay.
Now bear in mind that when you're making these sounds, that they are vibrating in you. So I'm going to make a series of sounds now. I'm not going to separate out the sound, just so that you can experience it as like a sound bath, if you will. So in that case, I'm using a series of sounds, which, it's another level, is more complex. But fundamentally, there are 8 sounds that you can use. The Great Octave is the name of my foundation. So it's the Great Octave. It's the 8 sounds in various combinations to achieve a variety of results. And, for example, I'm going to be teaching tomorrow in a corporation sounds for stress reduction. And, of course, in this society that we live in now, which is so fast, the speed of change, the speed of information, what's expected of individuals in the workplace and in life is very, very intense and very rapid, and we're no different than we were hundreds of years ago as human beings. We still need the same amount of time to digest our food and our thoughts, and that we ever did, right? Mm-hmm. And people get completely bent out of shape. They need pills to go to sleep, pills to stay awake, pills for the acid indigestion, and so forth. So we pay a physical price for this kind of stress and discomfort. Anxiety, because you can't live up to the expectations of yourself and society. All of these are destructive elements, and they can be controlled by ourselves, through meditation, and specifically, of course, what I teach is sound meditation. So people who don't feel that they're gifted for sitting for a long time or whatever can get enormous benefits from this kind of practice. And I work privately with people, and I work with people with the human condition, so a whole variety and a whole spectrum of human needs. And basically, with the power of your own voice, with your heart's intention, you can cut through the noise that we live in and the noise that's inside us to come to a place of stillness and calm, which becomes very deep, profound calm. And in that calm, you can really think straight. I mean, sometimes if you have a problem and you can't think of how am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to solve this problem? And your mind is filled with pros and cons and whatever. If you can come to a meditative stillness through the sound, sometimes the answer becomes very clear, kind of immediately, because the work is based on, and I think all meditation is based on, the concept that we are whole and complete in our natural state. We are joyous in our natural state. And all we have to do is to return to that, which is always existing in us and always accessible to us. But we get confused by the demands and by the noise and by the data and by the input and by the expectations that others have of us and we have of ourselves. And we live in a very competitive environment. That's the other part. But thinking clearly, being calm, produces results far beyond what our will can accomplish for us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Shulamet, thank you so much. We'll do our best to be there also. Last question. What's good news for you, Shulamet?
Good news for me is that when people awaken and come to an awareness, they experience a joy that they didn't know existed. And I believe that the society and the climate in which we live, in which there aren't, for some reason, any great leaders that are emerging, that every human being, each and every human being is called upon to awaken him or herself. And when they do that, the world becomes very beautiful. And I see more and more people eager for that and more people awakening. So that makes me very happy, and that's good news for me.
Beautiful.